The state had appointed, the governor then governor, I guess it was Carl Sanders, had appointed a commission to look into and guide the development of appropriate architecture for this site as the residence of the governor. I'm sure it was chosen because of its location on this road and the idea of building something rather grandiose. The only remnant of Mrs. Maddox's gardening effort is this amphitheater, which was a way of correcting erosion in a ravine. And allegedly, with her own forces, her own ingenuity, the land was shaped. These stairs, I believe, are new. I don't believe, that is, there were some simpler stairs without cheek walls before. The terraces were formed, and oddly, all the plants were on the slope, and the plateaus were for gatherings. You could hold almost as many people here in this amphitheater as you could in many of the auditoriums in town. The actual treatment at the bottom was a little bit simpler. There were, I believe, more conical forms. They were arborvitae, where these Burfords now are. The pool was a basin. There was no central fountain, as I recall from earlier photographs, and certainly there was not one there when we came. And my work here was largely in '67. But the idea was to make the most of this as a potential gathering space, and whether or not it's been used in that way, I really don't know. But looking back at looking generally at the property, all of the mature trees were actually here. In place, so that the magnolias we look at in this nearby grove were here. The big white oaks, which are characteristic of mature Piedmont forest, were here. Most of the evergreens that do the screening are later additions, either through my work or in the intervening 30 years or so. The Greek Revival house was placed to be parallel to West Paces Ferry, whereas the original informal Tudor house followed the ridge and was more irregular and exhibited itself modestly through the stems of the forest. The character of the land is the same. It's been cared for well. The building presents itself well. When we go into the house or to the front facade, that peristyle, the colonnade completely surrounded, gives openings either to views to the south across the front lawn or to the west over a large open terrace, which is an extension of the drawing room, which is the major assembly area. And to the north, it looks into a more informal, irregular area where we designed some semicircular stairs to descend some 12 feet. On the east, we built a wall to raise the grade so that you could progress right off the porch platform into a morning room garden. And I think we'll find that much of the shade that was there is no longer, but it was meant to be, in each case, an extension of the interior floor plan by having gardens that responded. But this, like any other garden, and many that I've worked on, its success depends entirely upon its keeping. And I think that each owner of any property will have their own taste and feeling of how it's to be furnished and kept. But the forms are here. It survived. There are really two landscapes, the 1905 landscape, which has been overlaid with this new wider circulation system, but the forest we inherited is essentially here, and I think that's the clue to making this a successful landscape.